In the late 19th century, fishermen noticed a peculiar behavior in the Decapita suborder, specifically the common crab. If you place a single crab in a shallow bucket, it will inevitably find its grip, hoist its carapace over the rim, and scuttle back to the ocean in minutes. But if you fill that bucket with a dozen crabs, a morbid collective intelligence emerges. The moment a single crab reaches for the rim, the others below will reach up with their claws and pull it back down to the bottom. If the escaping crab persists, showing a level of strength the group cannot match, the others will not simply pull it back. They will systematically tear off its limbs. They will dismember it until it is no longer a threat to the group's shared misery. They do this not because they want to escape. They do this because if they are condemned to the pot, you are required to stay in the pot with them. Welcome to new video. We have spent 11 videos deconstructing the individual, your brain, your discipline, your intelligence traps. But today, we address the external gravity. We address the fact that you do not live in a vacuum. You live in a crab bucket. And as you reach the final stage of your transformation into an anomaly, the claws are no longer a metaphor. They are a physical, psychological, and biological reality. Today, we dissect social entropy. We are going to look at why your mother, your best friend, and your partner might be the primary obstacles to your survival, and we are going to give you the surgical tools to perform the silent exit. In physics, entropy is the measure of disorder or randomness in a system. The second law of thermodynamics states that everything in the universe tends toward entropy, toward a state of uniform, low-energy chaos. Hot things get cold. Orderly things break down. Human society follows the exact same law. Social entropy is the force that pulls every outlier back to the mean. Society loves the average because the average is stable, the average is predictable, the average pays taxes, consumes the same content, and dies at the expected time. When you decide to become an anomaly, when you implement the architecture of discipline, you are creating a high-energy state in a low-energy environment. You are a hot coal in a bucket of ice. Physics demands that the ice cools the coal. The mimetic rivalry of René Girard. The French philosopher René Girard proposed that human desire is not original. It is mimetic. We want what others want. But there is a dark side. When you start achieving things that others think they want, but aren't willing to work for, you stop being a friend and start becoming a rival. Your success is a constant, screaming indictment of their laziness. Every time you post a win, you are inadvertently telling them, "I did it," which proves you could have done it too, but you didn't. To stop that internal scream, they must invalidate your win. They must pull you back into the entropy. If you aren't special, then they aren't failures. This is the foundation of the bucket. Let's talk about the anterior cingulate cortex (ACC). This is the part of your brain that processes physical pain. Neuroscientific studies, specifically those conducted by Naomi Eisenberger at UCLA, have shown that social rejection activates the exact same neural pathways as a physical blow to the face. When your social circle mocks your new habits, your brain doesn't register it as feedback. It registers it as a wound. Evolutionarily, this was a feature, not a bug. In the Pleistocene era, being different meant you might get kicked out of the tribe. In the wild, isolation was a 100% guarantee of death. Thus, we are hardwired with a fear of the rim. The Asch conformity experiments. In the 1950s, psychologist Solomon Asch demonstrated that people would intentionally choose a blatantly wrong answer just to stay in alignment with the group. They would look at a short line and a long line, hear the group say the short one was longer, and agree, not because they were blind, but because the psychological pressure of being the only one who is right was more painful than being wrong with the crowd. As you ascend, your old tribe will use this biology against you. They will weaponize your need for belonging. They will use the guilt of the survivor. They will make you feel like a traitor for leaving the old neighborhood, the old habits, or the old jokes. They are hacking your ACC to make your growth feel like pain. To defeat the bucket, you must categorize the claws with cold, clinical precision. Sabotage is rarely a frontal assault. It's a siege of good intentions. 1. The safety moralist. This person uses the language of mental health and balance to mask their fear of your progress. They say, "I'm worried you're losing yourself," or "remember to live a little." They frame your discipline as a pathology. They want to convince you that your pursuit of excellence is actually a breakdown. This is gaslighting at the highest level. They aren't worried about your health. They are worried about your distance. You are moving too far away for them to reach. The cynical historian. This is the friend who has a mental file of every mistake you made in the last 10 years. The moment you show growth, they bring up the old you. Remember when you tried that other thing and failed, or you've always been a dreamer. They are trying to pin you to your past. They refuse to acknowledge the new version of you, because if you can change, then their excuse of "that's just how I am" becomes invalid. 3. The passive-aggressive sniper. The sniper uses humor as a delivery system for poison. "Oh, look at Mr. High Performance. Too busy for us peasants now." It's a test of your frame. If you get defensive, you lose. If you apologize, you lose. The sniper wants to see if you still care about their opinion. The moment you stop reacting to the sniper, they lose their power. 4. The nostalgic anchor. This is often the hardest to deal with family. They love you, but they love the version of you that was small, dependent, and relatable. They don't want the anomaly, they want the child. They use guilt as a tether. "You've changed so much, we don't even know you anymore." This is a demand for you to shrink yourself so they can feel comfortable again. If you try to fight the crabs, you will stay in the bucket. The conflict itself is a form of attachment. If you spend your time arguing with mediocre people about why you aren't mediocre, you are still participating in their energy. The concept of strategic camouflage. In intelligence circles, deep cover operatives don't announce their mission. They look, act, and speak like the environment they are infiltrating. You must do the same. If your old friends want to talk about sports, talk about sports. If your family wants to talk about the weather, talk about the weather. But keep your anomaly protocol hidden. Do not share your goals. Do not share your numbers. Do not share your vision with people who have never looked past the rim. This is information asymmetry. By keeping your growth a secret, you prevent the bucket from coordinating an attack. You aren't lying. You are protecting the infant version of your future self. The shadow work of success. Every great ascent requires a period of the desert. This is the gap between leaving your old tribe and finding your new one. It is the most dangerous time for an anomaly. You will feel the pull of the bucket most strongly when you are lonely. This is where the 10th video, Architecture of Discipline, becomes your only friend. You must learn to find validation in the feedback of the work, not the feedback of the tribe. Most people fail here. They reach the rim, look out at the vast, lonely ocean, and get scared. They climb back down into the warm, crowded pile of crabs because at least it's social. You must be willing to be a ghost for as long as it takes to find the others who escaped. Let's look at this through game theory. In a low-trust environment, the bucket, the winning strategy is to pull others down to prevent them from gaining an advantage. It's a zero-sum game. But once you escape the bucket, the game changes. You enter a high-trust environment. When you find other anomalies, they don't pull you down. Why? Because they know that your success increases the value of the entire network. This is a positive-sum game. In the high-altitude tribe, changed is a complement. Obsessed is a prerequisite. Discipline is the baseline. The mirror neuron reversal. When you surround yourself with other high performers, your biology finally starts working for you. Your mirror neurons begin to copy their speed, their focus, and their standards. You no longer have to fight the entropy of your environment because the environment itself is moving at 200 miles per hour. But to get there, you must pay the exit tax. The exit tax is the loss of your old identity. It is the awkwardness of the holidays. It is the silence of the group chat that you no longer respond to. It is the realization that the people who knew you best actually knew you the least. This is the end of the first cycle. 12 videos. A complete deconstruction and reconstruction of your reality. The crab bucket effect is the final filter. It is the universe's way of asking, do you really want this? Or were you just playing a character? If you want the life of the 1%, you cannot stay in the social structures of the 99%. It is mathematically and biologically impossible. You cannot be a lion while seeking the approval of sheep. You cannot be an architect while asking the demolition crew for advice. The people in the bucket are not your enemies, they are your past. They are the old version of you, trying to survive. Forgive them for their claws, but do not let them touch your legs. The protocol is simple. 1. Identify the sabotage. 2. Implement the silent exit. 3. Build in the dark. 4. Outgrow the bucket. The rim is right there. You can feel the wind. You can see the ocean. The others are waiting for you, but they can't reach into the bucket to pull you out. You have to make the final jump alone. The strings are cut. The trap is bypassed. The architecture is built. The anomaly is active. Now, leave the bucket behind. Execute. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel for more helpful self-improvement tips.